3, 2. All right, here we go. What's up, Brian? How are you?
Hey, good.
Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm psyched about it.
I'm psyched about having you.
Yeah, I'm now adjusting to the sound.
In your ears?
Yeah, my ears. And is it muffled? How's it all sounding?
Perfect.
All right,
Sounds
good.
perfect.
All right, cool.
So we were just talking about your books, and I said, let's save it. Let's save it for the podcast because I wanted it to sound fresh. I don't want you to re-say it. So tell me about, you wrote 2 books?
I wrote 2 books. And, as you know, I'm a, movie writer and a movie and television producer.
To say it mildly. I mean, you made some fucking amazing movies.
Wow, thanks. Thanks, Joe.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And all this, I think, my whole life and whatever those stories are, the movies are, and the successes, I kind of think anyone that's really focused can do what I do. So that was kind of the end product of the first book, it was called A Curious Mind, The Secret to a Bigger Life. And that book is really about, how much do you want to know about it?
Everything. Whatever you want to tell me.
Okay. So basically, I couldn't read at all in elementary school. And it caused a lot of shame and then a lot of trauma.
Did you have dyslexia?
I had dyslexia, very, very, quite acute dyslexia. And I think we're out in Woodland Hills, which was the fancy part of the valley. I grew up in the flats of Sherman Oaks, actually as a little kid going to Riverside Drive Elementary School, and then later to Nobel Junior High, and then later Chatsworth High School. And in elementary school, I couldn't read at all, and they didn't classify it as dyslexia. It was just you're slow, you're dumb, why can't you answer this? And then you'd say, I can't read, and then that didn't make sense. It just didn't, none of those things computed, really, that somebody couldn't actually read a word. And I really couldn't read a word. So when you can't read a word, then you find ways to survive, cope, and not have the teacher look you in the eyes and say, okay, Brian, come to the board and answer this question, because it's just going to produce more shame because you don't know the answer. It's not possible. So I found that as that went on for quite a while, around the 4th, 5th, 6th grade, I really looked at people. I really looked them in the eyes to learn. And I found that by looking somebody in the eyes, you could engage. I didn't know this then, but you engage their heart. If you're really doing it with sincerity and interest, you can engage people and move them and evangelize things. Get people to play on your team, or you play on their team. They pick you and stuff. Good things happen, except the reading part. But it enabled me to learn a lot just by looking at people and talking to people. And I had this one mentor, this little grandmother. Her name was Sonia. And little Sonia, she was like 4'10", I guess, And she would always say to me, she'd see me once a week, minimally, always once a week. And she'd say, you're going all the way. You're going to make it big. Think big, be big. And she had all these isms because half my mom's side of the family was Jewish. My dad's side of the family is Catholic. The Jewish side, the grandmother, was my mentor and the person that really was the single person that I could kind of count on in life. And she'd constantly tell me how things, I'd go great. You have a gift for gab, she'd say. And every time she said, you're going to go all the way, I'm thinking there's absolutely no empirical evidence I'm going all the way anywhere, except my parents were always arguing, let's put him back. The teacher, Miss Stegg, said, let's put him back. So I just wasn't going anywhere, I didn't think. So that gave rise to the fact that I thought the way I can really learn a lot is have these kind of curiosity conversations. And once I graduated college, I did this on a weekly basis, and I still do it to this day. Once a week. Sometimes once every 2 weeks, but never more than once every 2 weeks. I'm pretty militant. I'm extremely militant about it.
How do you do it? What do you mean?
Well, what I do is I think about, it's often, and I know you do something possibly similar to this, but my system would be, I bombard myself with, now I can read, of course, and I was able to start to read like in high school.
Can you tell me how they fixed that? Like
They couldn't fix it. It's not.
how
It
do you
wasn't
learn
fixable.
How to dyslexia reverses words on you, right? Reverses the way you view letters and
Yeah. Well, initially
Scrambles?
as a kid, it scrambles the letters. Then when it gets better, it reverses the words. And to this day, I still start on the right and go to the left. So it takes like really thoughtful discipline to make sure I'm always starting.
Do you mean with
on the left.
sentences or
With
with
the sentences?
words?
With the sentences.
Really? So you'll start at the right end of the. You should read Hebrew or something, isn't that? Doesn't it go right to
Chinese
left?
or something?
Yeah,
I guess.
different languages do that, right?
Yeah, I guess they do. But incidentally, when you have dyslexia, it's very hard to learn other languages. So
I would imagine.
very, very hard. So, but I can read, and I bombard myself.
So how do you switch it around? Like when your brain is making you read right to left?
Yes. I started to learn, just create just like an exercise, a discipline, where I could, like as in college, I was able to read. I could force myself to start on the left and go to the right.
Is there a certain mechanism that's causing you to do right to left? Like, do they know what the cause of this is?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. Probably something neurological, and certainly genetic. I mean, I have no genetic trace, but it has to be a letter within your genome. I have to having to guess.
So you learned how to read, you learned how to figure it out, and then you said you have these conversations at least once every 2 weeks. So
Yes.
how do you do this? Like, what do you organize them? They're structured?
They're structured. They see there's a randomness to them because often I have to. It's not like getting on your show where everybody wants to be on the show. I say that with a compliment, of course, but I'm begging people because even though
sit down with you,
I'm begging them to sit down with me, and I'm groveling, and I'm calling assistants directly. I have 3 assistants, but I make all of my own phone calls always. You know why? Because I have this discipline of getting to know assistants and going, "Hey, it's Brian. Is Richard around?" And I just I do that.
Well, that's so refreshing from a guy who's as successful as you are, because so many times when people get that successful, you insulate yourself with a bunch of other people who do all the calls for you and open all the doors for you, and you just you stay insulated and more aloof.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Well, people do. I mean, look, there are producers that are let's say we're in the same category or same ilk, that just do it differently. I made a lot of deliberate choices through trial and error. I went through the 80s where power guys had desks above the other chairs that are on the other side. The power guys always had black lacquer furniture. They did all these power things. And I thought, I want artists to like me, relate to me, and I always did everything to create a democratic environment because not that I was such a cool guy, but more like you just get so much more out of a creative person by not intimidating them.
Sure, yeah.
And I just saw, my peers, and often, someone maybe a decade ahead of me, I don't want to, I'm so close to saying names, but just those sort of tough guys, and I didn't think that was effective. I just didn't think it was effective. And I wasn't making these really hardcore action movies. I was doing movies they're designed to ignite emotion and feeling. In fact, even when I do public speaking, I say, Brian Grazer, whatever they might say, but I always say I'm in the feelings business. I'm not a movie producer. I'm in the feelings business because I feel like that's what we want out of a cinematic experience for me.
Sure.
For the movies I'm interested in doing or TV shows. Because I grew up loving those movies of the 70s, and I'm captivated by things that move me emotionally and elevate me emotionally.
So you make these phone calls and
Yes,
you arrange
sorry.
these conversations. So
Yeah.
you arrange basically a podcast that no one's listening to. That is kind of like it. Because
That's exactly. I never thought of it in those words. That is really funny.
you should probably record them.
So I've done it for, say, 35 years.
Really? And
Yes.
you didn't record any of them?
The first 15 years, nothing. I didn't write really notes either. And then the second 10 years, that was, I'd say 15 was nothing. I just did it because I felt like that could inhibit somebody, or I felt like I was trying to do these sort of down low in a way. Like I didn't want to commodify them, like industrialize my conversations.
Right.
And I had friends go like, "Oh, can we be part of it?" And I tried it once with a couple other guys during my thing, and it fractionalized my attention.
Yeah.
And what I found, the great thing about the conversations, the one-on-one with no one else in the room, which that's all I do. Again, I tried it different ways. Is it create what you're trying to do? I'm trying to do is like create the best date that Isaac Asimov ever had, or I mean, I have so many people, just Margaret Thatcher. I'm trying to I'm trying to have no idea of time and space, and I want them to have no idea of time and space, and because that is like your best date.
Yeah.
And I always think like, what is my best date with a girl? For me, Brian, because my best date is I'm not even thinking about time, and it becomes almost like a biochemical event. It's just things are evolving.
Yeah.
And I felt like I could do this with many Nobel laureates, with Sheldon Glasgow, who converted the 4 forces of nature to 3. And I brought his name up because, well, first of all, I knew that your show you could do whatever you want, and with Sheldon Glasgow, it's like I usually do an hour or 2 hours, but I hung out with this guy, shut my whole day down for 6 hours.
Wow.
Just because I was so captivated by him, and he talked about multiple subjects. So basically, I'm always got somebody that I'm really wanting to meet, and it takes a year at least, or sometimes years,
To organize this.
to get them to say yes, or to be in the same city, or be willing to say yes and me fly to New York or some other place.
It sounds like you have figured out the benefit that I've experienced from having podcasts and having these kind of conversations, one-on-one conversations, but you did it just for your own personal edification.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing, but it's I have gotten more out of talking to people like this, and it made me grow more as a person, and made me understand more about communication and how to talk to people than anything I've ever done in my whole life. Because
Yes.
you don't normally have this completely unfiltered. It's one of the reasons why I like headsets as well, because it locks you in.
Yeah.
It's like your volume of you talking is the same level in my ears as it is in your ears. We're all on this one. It's not like there's distance between us. We're in each other's ears. And
Yeah.
we're talking. There's no
That makes
phones.
sense.
There's no
Yes.
nothing. We're sitting across from each other. How would I ever organize this? I thought about that with so many different people that I've had a chance to talk to. Like, how would I ever get Sean Carroll, the astrophysicist, to sit down and just talk to me for 3 hours?
You had to
How would I
captivate
get-
him.
I would never get him to do that.
No.
I would never get him to, hey, let's put headphones on and you just tell me about stuff. Like, explain
Yeah.
to me about. No one would ever do that.
Agree.
But because of this thing called a podcast, because I can share it with all the other people that are listening, I've had this chance to have these kind of conversations. And it sounds like you've done the same thing, but without an audience.
Exactly.
That's really brilliant. It's a brilliant way that you figured out that this is a great way to expand your own understanding of people by
Yes.
being one-on-one with these brilliant folks.
Yes, exactly. And maybe you do this too, but I've found, I mean, I do meet a lot of people. I reach out to meet people that are, expert at many different things that I don't do, of course. But sometimes I become really motivated just to meet somebody because they're so uniquely committed to something. Like
Yeah.
they're so obsessed.
Yes.
And I've even found that I've learned a lot from Uber drivers and baristas and stuff. Where but I do reach out to meet people that have really had a very committed to a really intense journey, and often have triumphed in it.
Yeah, that's very contagious.
Yeah,
like
it
the
is.
kind of energy that those people exude.
Yeah, it is. It's inspirational too,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
like even who was it? Josh, you might know this guy, Josh Waitnick.
Yeah.
Okay, the guy that was the subject of Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Yeah, the chess master.
The chess master
Yeah.
who now is like a martial
Jiu-jitsu
arts.
martial. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he was able to like succeed in both templates or formats.
Yeah,
right?
did we say his last name right? Waitkins? Is that it? How do
I
you
thought
say
it was Wait. I don't know.
It's
Waitnick?
he's a student under Marcelo Garcia. who's-
Exactly.
Yeah, one of the greatest
this is,
jiu-jitsu
of course
masters
you
of
know
all
that.
time.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's very proud of that.
He should be. He's amazing. Yeah, he's excellent. And Josh is Waitskin.
Oh, Waitskin, you have it right. Thank you very much.
I want to get it right. But a brilliant guy, and
He is.
and he's amazing on. Have you ever heard him on Tim Ferriss's podcast?
I did.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent episode. I think he's done more than one episode, in fact.
Yeah.
So
I'll
your
check.
experience with him, what were you saying?
No, I just thought like this guy, he's so committed to excellence. Like it's just, and it made me, like as you were just saying, made me think about that as a premise, like just complete commitment to excellence.
Yeah.
Because I don't really think of it, these sort of creative puzzles that way. A creative puzzle would be like, a movie or a TV show or a documentary, and I could go on. Jay-Z asked me because I knew Jay-Z because he was very obsessed with wanting to do the soundtrack to a movie called American Gangster, which I produced.
Great movie. Love that movie.
Did you? Thanks.
Loved it.
Oh, great. Thanks. I like that one a lot too. But so, and I said, as much, as impressed as I am with Jay-Z and his level of, mastery himself, I said, look, we've already done the entire score. I mean, you can't do it. It's been done. He said, well, look, I feel a kinship to Frank Lucas, who was played by Denzel Washington. Ends up being a drug dealer, like the biggest heroin dealer in America at the time, and head of like his own mafia that he creates. And so anyway, the bottom line is he feels this kinship to him. He wants to do this. He's very dedicated. I say it's already done, as much as, superstar you are and how great you are. And he said, look, I will do a second album. I don't have to be the primary album that's on the screen. I'll do a second album. And I said, but I only have 3 weeks. He goes, I will do the whole thing in 3 weeks. And he did it.
Whoa.
And I went and saw him. He did the singing. He did the writing. He engineered it. He did every single thing. So the guy that's the king of hip hop, he goes to work. And I was really blown away because he still, he has that grit in him. And it turned out to be like, for real hip hop lovers, they really like this album. I guess it was.
Everybody loves everything he does, though. When was the last time Jay-Z put out something that was shit?
He doesn't
Right?
really, yeah. He's kind of brilliant, actually. He's, So
Yeah.
he doesn't. He's a
That's
brilliant
amazing,
marketer. He's when he says things that are very insightful. So he wanted to do. After that, we got to know each other, and then he said, "Hey, I'm going to do. I want to do a festival, a festival with 22 different artists and all different types. And it's going to be in Love Park, and we're calling it Made in America. Would you produce it?" And I said, yeah. And I knew that Ron Howard could get a chance at directing it. And I thought it'd be really good for Ron to be around Jay-Z. That's a good thing for him. He's got a good aura and the right one for Ron. And I thought, well, so we joined him. And I said, what is this about? What's the premise? And he said, it's about democratization of music itself. There's no record stores anymore. And the walls are down. You can get there's the crossover between hip hop and trance music and all that stuff. So, and I thought that was kind of cool. And then I said, "Have you ever seen this movie called?" Because it didn't have a story. This concert. And I said, "You ever see Amadeus?" He goes, "I never seen Amadeus." And I said, "Well, it's about genius." And he asked about it, and he goes, "That's what the premise of this will be." And he immediately had this idea that it should be every artist, every human being has a little bit of genius in them. And he made it very relatable. And that became the thesis of what this documentary became. And he only had that like a week before we were shooting.
Wow.
So it was kind of remarkable.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this for 35 years and you haven't recorded any of these conversations you've had with people?
Okay. You're stay. In the last 10 years, I've recorded some. And sometimes I do FaceTimes, and they allow me to, like Admiral William McRaven, who I really wanted to meet, the Navy SEAL that created SEAL Team 6 and just recently sort of doesn't speak out publicly, but had a point of view about the president and the whole Oval Office and stuff like that. And he's a really amazing guy. But I said, "Can I FaceTime you?" Because that was the only way. So if somebody can't meet with me, I now say, "Would you Skype with me or FaceTime?" At the time I started, the tool didn't exist.
Right. So you would fly to them?
I'd fly to them.
Have these conversations?
Yeah.
That's so amazing that you've had this commitment to do this.
I have this. Yeah, I do. I feel it's it's important to my life, and it's like a hobby that you're completely committed to doing, and it's for me. I'm a person that gets better. I can get better all the time. I'm open every minute of every day for self-improvement. Like if you said, "Brian, if you gave me a note about this experience or something, and you said, you'd probably be better if you did it this way," if I could integrate it or assimilate it, I would then do it.
Good for you. That's a beautiful attitude.
Well, I know how fallible I am.
Yeah, all of us. If you're human,
if you think, yeah,
that's part of being us.
Yeah. So you embrace that yourself too.
Oh yeah. You have to constantly seeking self-improvement.
Yeah.
The big problem is holding yourself prisoner to the mistakes of the past. Don't do that, and just constantly looking to get better at anything you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think having these kind of conversations like you're talking about will make you a better, more thoughtful person too.
Yes.
Because it gives you a level of communication with human beings that it's very rare in this world.
Yes.
Very rare that you get to sit down across from someone. And sometimes I have these conversations with people where there's no one around, like, the back bar at the Comedy Store. We sitting down with a buddy and we'll just sit there. No one's around. Just he and I will just shoot the shit for an hour and a half, 2 hours. No one around, just talking. And like those are rare moments where you're not distracted, where you could just talk about things. You have ideas and someone brings something up and you consider it, and then you add your own thing and they consider that. And then you just go back and forth and you get a better understanding of each other.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's amazing that you're able to do it and get away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, see, we're both sounds like open-minded to as long as we're kind of disrupting our comfort zone, I think, and being open-minded to that. You're then being open-minded to like the value of human error.
Yes. Oh yeah, the value of human error. That's a great way of putting it.
Because it's sometimes it's not exactly human error, but human error for sure. But it's often the thing you failed at or the ugly thing that happened that sticks in your head and makes a difference in your life, makes you better.
Fuel for improvement.
Yeah, fuel for improvement.
Yeah, the feeling that you get when you fail at things is very valuable, because even though it sucks and it feels terrible, it does force you to sort of recommit and reconsider. First of all, reconsider the consequences for failure, the feeling that you get when things don't go well, which is a terrible feeling. And then it also makes you aware of the commitment that's necessary to not fail, to do well at things.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's enlightening.
Sure, yeah.
Because sometimes you think that's even if you feel like you've accrued all the facts, you've been able to, sometimes you don't know that there's that, going back to Josh, there's this extra level of excellence that exists there. There's still more room to go, and you realize, oh, I could fill in those inches. They can be filled in.
Yeah. Yeah, well, something like what he did, chess, and then also jiu-jitsu, there's so many levels to it. It's such a multifaceted discipline. There's so many different possible moves with both activities, chess and jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And jiu-jitsu, there's the physical element as well, which is a big part of it, physical fitness, and then also mental conditioning and your ability to stay on task even though your body's physically exhausted, and then the discipline to make sure that your body is conditioned so that it doesn't get physically exhausted as quickly or as easily.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very intellectual discipline that people don't consider. They think of physical things as being like meathead things or grunt things, but there's actually a lot of mental stress and strength that's involved in discipline that you need to have in order to get your body into a position, where it can perform like Josh's can on the mats.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard mentally to do that because you have to have all these battles where you want to quit, you want to give up early, you want to take a break, you want to rest, you don't want to go today, but you should. All those things must be overcome in order to achieve the level of excellence that he's achieved.
Yeah, and probably because you've done this yourself, so you know what that feels like when you when you said you don't want to get exhausted or get tired. That probably takes tremendous amount of focus because you get exhausted when you're nervous, right? Because your heart beats faster, you breathe less air, blah blah blah. That's when in like in surfing or something. That's when you can choke.
Sure, yeah.
That's when you run out of air because you're so nervous and you're scrambling around. But it's the guys that are relaxed, like outside. You have Laird Hamilton. He's so trained to be able to be under the water for I don't know how long he can do it.
Yeah, he's very, very accustomed to that kind of environment.
And it doesn't freak him out. He goes, okay, there's a very good chance I'm going to get caught in the impact zone. I'm going to be taken under, and he doesn't freak out. If he freaked out, it would be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's his business.
It's life and death.
His business is riding the biggest waves.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be able to keep it together when that water wall comes crashing down at your head.
Yeah. So I have to imagine it's a different thing, but in jiu-jitsu or fighting that you've done, which I think you still do jiu-jitsu, correct? Yeah. Those things, those factors, they're just different environment.
You don't necessarily get nervous with jiu-jitsu that much unless you're in a competition, but what you do get is exhausted. It's very physically demanding.
Yeah, I bet.
So you get very, very tired, and you really should be. The more conditioned you are physically, like the more strength and conditioning routines you go through, the more your body is in shape, the more you can perform. It's sort of like racing, right, with a race car, but you can actually add horsepower to the race car through discipline, and you can add better tires, and you can add a more supple suspension through thought and activity.
Really?
Yeah, through yoga and different kinds of training. It's like, like you're involved in this thing that's a physical thing, but it's also a mental thing.
In racing?
No.
In what?
In jiu-jitsu.
In jiu-jitsu, yes.
So like your body is the race car, right?
Got it.
But through strength and conditioning, you could actually add tires. You can actually add a bigger engine.
I get it.
It can do more.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, and through repetitive drills, you actually can hone your neuromuscular system to the point where these grooves are cut, so you know exactly how to turn and how to move when you're moving and you're doing jiu-jitsu, and everything sort of goes and flows automatically, and that requires extreme amounts of discipline.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah, I'm just imagining it as you say it. Because I don't know that much about jiu-jitsu. I've gone to some fights that a friend of mine, Ari Emanuel.
Oh yeah, okay. Owns the UFC.
The UFC guy, yeah. So he's a really good friend, and my daughter's obsessed with. She's obsessed with martial arts, jiu-jitsu. She trains. It's not what she does for a living, but she trains, and she loves the community of people.
Yes.
She got injured, pretty seriously injured, and then she didn't want to be indulgent, but I said, look, I'll pay for you to start back early, and you can just do one-on-ones, because she didn't want to.
How'd she injure herself?
She got choked off from the back. I don't know how that, and it
Hurt her neck?
yeah, created a stroke in her.
Whoa.
Yeah, multiple strokes in her brain, but it didn't affect any part of her intellectual capacity. But it was really pretty. It was very serious.
She got caught in a rear naked choke.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes,
And the choke
Again, I don't
gave
know.
her multiple strokes. I've never even heard of that before.
I will let you. I will
That's
email you
crazy.
exactly what happened
Please
to her.
do.
But she got through it, and even
And
when
went
she
back
was,
to training again.
she goes back to training. She is.
Whoa.
I've on my phone. I'll show it to you later.
You would think multiple strokes. I'd be like, all right, that's a wrap. We tried that.
She just loves it, and she now, people are a little. She does one-on-ones, so they don't do that move. Whatever that move would be. Again, I'll get all the information, and just for your own curiosity, I'll send
Wow.
it to you. But she's back in it. She loves it, and
She's fully recovered?
she's fully recovered.
And did it have any effect
She had a
on-
little nerve damage, which honestly, she had a little nerve damage that that is now in her foot. So periodically, her foot will become completely black and blue.
Whoa.
I know. So, but she'll get through it because she's really strong mentally. She wasn't always that way, but we've, my wife and I've sort of helped her with tough love, like you can do it, that kind of a stuff.
Sure.
Because she's a therapist. She's a psycho. Her name is Sage Grazer on the Joe Rogan show. I mean, everyone loves their kids, right?
Sure.
And so that's what she does. She's an actual therapist with patients. And
Well, I'm
stuff.
glad to hear that
Yeah.
she recovered from that. I've
She
never
did.
heard of anybody having a stroke from that before. That must be terrifying.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
So back to these conversations that
Yes.
you've had over these 35 years, the ones that you've recorded, what have you done with them? You're holding on to them?
I just keep them.
People get so mad at me
Yes.
because I tell everybody they should do a podcast. How mad do people get at me? They get pretty mad at me, right? Because I think so many people can. But you
maybe-
definitely should.
Well, I should because I like doing this so much. I really am probably like you. I'm just super interested in people.
Yes. Well, curious. What
I'm
you
really
said,
curious.
Part of the title of your book.
Yeah. So Curious Mind. I realized that, geez, I've done 35 years of these. At that time, I might have been 30, and my 4 kids, don't really know what I'm doing. Like I'm really spending a lot of time hustling to get Edward Teller to meet me. It took a year and a half, 2 years, or Daryl Gates. It was the craziest meeting of all time. Daryl Gates,
The LA
LA
guy?
police chief.
Wow. Wow, how is that the craziest one of all
Okay, I'll
time?
give it to you very quick. I'll
Okay,
give it
please.
to you. Okay, so I really thought this guy, he was, he's one of the most well-known and most accomplished police chiefs in America. I think there were 3 of them, and he was one of the 3 in a century. And then Daryl Gates, I knew was one of the creators, the fundamental creator of SWAT, which was bringing paramilitary tactics to the LA Police Department. He started out as a bright-eyed, strong-minded, clean-cut guy working for the police department, and because he was sharp, he was the driver to the police chief, which was Chief Parker. And then Chief Parker, the LA, there was a riot called the Watts Riot, not the LA riots, but the Watts Riot, and the police went in, and they were not qualified to be in that situation, and they kind of failed they felt they failed at it. And Daryl Gates was like by the chief's side the entire time, and he kind of vowed to himself, I'm not going to let that happen again. And when he had the opportunity, because he became later police chief, not much later, became police chief of Los Angeles Police Department, he instituted SWAT and other, paramilitary tactics and a mind discipline that was pretty, it was like creating, like martial law, people would argue. And then that kind of produced an environment that I think many think, and I think myself, helped an environment that caused the LA riots, because there was a lot of inequity, I think, human inequity felt. I know I'm getting this kind of political, and you should tell me what your point of view, please.
On the LA riots?
Yeah.
Well, I moved here after that.
Okay.
So I wasn't here while that was going down.
Right. It was pretty intense.
Yeah. And the LA riots were a direct response to the Rodney King trial.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And yeah, that was a crazy time. I mean, the reaction, first of all, the reaction to the video. The video was horrible, watching Rodney King getting beaten like that.
Yeah.
Then you also heard that they had been on a high-speed pursuit with him and that there was more to that video. Like, that was the end of their altercation. Apparently, there's much more physical altercation before that video. And maybe if someone saw the full thing, they would understand, well, okay, you're dealing with a wild person who's on PCP and these cops are doing everything they can to detain him. Yeah. But there's a distrust of the police in these communities in the first place because they had seen so much police brutality. Right. So that reaction, that riot, was not just because of that one situation. Yes. It was an accumulation of different events and different interactions that people had had with abusive police officers. It was a boiling pot. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. You know, and then the whole Rampart unit, and there was so much corruption. There's a lot of shit going down during that time. So all that just all of it exploded.
And so the thing about this story is that I was saying about I got a meeting with Daryl Gates. It was 10 months on the book. 10 months. Wow. And ironically, the day of my meeting with him was the day of the LA riots. So I thought, and it already had happened, 2,000 buildings on fire and everything. And my office gets a phone call from Daryl Gates' office confirming my meeting with him. I'm thinking, oh my God, Parker Center is under siege. You know, it's like the whole city is under siege. He still wanted to keep the meeting, a meeting that was on the books for 10 months. And I thought, that's really crazy. So I went down. I had a guy drive me, and I went down. And they zigzagged through like a security clearance thing where no other cars could get through. That was really bizarre, you know, like we see this now often. But they initiated this kind of maze that the car would go through. I get to the front door. A couple of police chiefs, officers escort me in. They put me in a room. I joke. I say, they didn't give me a cavity search, but just about everything. But, you know, took my clothes off, did everything.
Did they really?
Yeah, I did.
Why did they think that you,
just a scrawny little guy,
makes movies?
I don't know.
That you would go rogue.
I know. There's like that. There's no evidence of for sure.
That's crazy.
So, and then I got upstairs. And he is sitting so calmly. He'd already ordered 2 tuna fish sandwiches, very, very utilitarian, the sandwiches. And we had the potato chips, and he said, "You want an iced tea?" I couldn't even swallow. I couldn't eat my food because I was so shocked by the whole thing that he had so much. He was impervious to everything that was going down, and the city council was on his TV and on the TV out there, and you know, guys, police officers were running in, go, "Chief, you're on TV right now," and they're yelling, and he says to me and to them, "This is nothing. They'll never get me out of here." He had so much hubris. It was amazing, and I thought, wow, and he's so calm about it. And of course, they did get him out. I think the next day, actually, because the city council was had very liberal guys on that board, people on that board rather, and it's a long, insane story. But I had my lunch meeting.
How long was the meeting?
Normal, like an hour. You know, it was a full hour.
So you just have lunch and just pick his brain and
talk
to
just
him?
Have lunch and ask questions, you know, and try to not be nervous or upset about what's going on in the environment and the TVs flashing, you know, like archival footage that they'd shot days before, you know, or the day of, and buildings on fire, and the Korean shop market, somebody getting killed, and all that stuff they were showing on television. And he was just kind of matter of fact, like, it's just what's going down. This time it'll just pass.
Wow.
I know. It was crazy.
Well, it sounds like someone designed for the job.
So I couldn't record that one.
Yeah, obviously.
But so So anyway, I did think that my kids should know about all this stuff, and actually Charlie Rose, of all people, said, you should write a book. And so it got on my mind, and I mentioned it to a couple of people, and they said, oh yeah, you should write a book. And so then I thought, okay, I'll write a book because I'm going to write notes on this anyway, these 35 years for my kids, so that when I pass, they'll know this was a very big part of my life, beyond my career, but my life. And so that's what the first book is about. It synthesizes many of the important one-on-one conversations I had over the 30 years. And then it connects the synthesis of those stories to narrative storytelling. For example, in 1984, I met Sting, the lead singer of the Police, because I thought, wow, he'd be fascinating to meet because he was like a school teacher in England, and now he's like a rock star. I just thought that's kind of an interesting transition, like one of the biggest rock stars. So I meet him, I get him to say yes. It wasn't horribly hard. And then a year after I met with him, he calls up in 1985 and he says, I'm having a barbecue at my house. I think some interesting people will be here. And that was right after the Amnesty tour. And he took a woman named Veronica de Negre in 1985, along with other superstars. She wasn't a superstar. She was held in a Chilean prison and tortured every single day of her life for 18 months. And she went on the Amnesty tour only for a few days as evidence of somebody that can survive, like she was hopeful, still. Like most people don't survive torture either from the torture itself or sadly they commit suicide because they're just so much trauma, so much PTSD. So she survives. I meet her and I say, how do you survive? And she tells me that while she creates a story that she's living in the entire time. So there's reality and then there's an alternate reality. The alternate reality is the story that she creates, that she can live in, that alleviates some of the pain and the unpredictable pain of torture. So now that's pretty fascinating to me, and I really sat with those insights. Now, many things happened after that I was able to use that. Like I became, when I was stuck on A Beautiful Mind because it wasn't cinematic, I thought, well, how can I make it cinematic? And I thought, Veronica de Negre, she lived in an alternate reality. Well, that's exactly involuntarily what a schizophrenic has to do. They live in alternate realities. So in the movie A Beautiful Mind, to make it really compelling, we started in an alternate reality and made it a thriller and realized, oh my God, there's this epiphany, and you realize that was not even reality, right? And that's what blew people's minds, and that's why the movie kind of worked, because it drew you in so deeply into this character that it became like this subjective experience that every audience member could feel, like the pain of that and the insanity of what that must feel like.
That was another brilliant movie.
Oh, thank you.
I love that movie.
Thank
when
you.
you say make it cinematic, what do you mean by that exactly?
Well, Ron and I realized that Ron Howard, who directed it and won an Oscar, and we realized that in order to make it really interesting, you have to understand the mind of a schizophrenic. So therefore, you have to see somebody's mind. Mm-hmm. How do you see somebody's mind other than just graphically, or like through graphic design and we thought that's not very interesting. Like the insertion of graphic design or voiceover narration, that makes it kind of a documentary. So, but we thought but if you could have an entire story, kind of with the military and paranoia and all that, that's exactly one of the dimensions or realities of a schizophrenic's mind. So you get to film it with other actors and other people, and that's why I mean when I say cinematic. So basically, when you're seeing the 25 minutes of living in this alternate reality with Ed Harris and all that stuff, craziness, it blows your mind as an audience, and then you reflect later, like, wow, that wasn't even real, and wow, is that guy really going to come back? And you make it seamlessly cinematic with the rest of the narrative of him trying to cope with schizophrenia itself. So it becomes the merging of an alternate reality and actual reality. And the actual reality is when you watch him in that level of pain and just trying to survive, like cope with meds and the wife, and then we found the way to make it, kind of work triumphantly, because it was love that was the most powerful force. It was that one person decided to stay with this other one person. The wife, Alicia, stayed with John Nash.
That's so interesting that you pulled that from that woman's experience.
I did.
Surviving torture.
I credit her for that.
Wow.
Always, because she, yeah. So that's how. So I found that all of these insights, that we're referring to, the ones that you have when you're, behind, just getting off stage and you realize, wow, I could talk to my buddies or this new guy for a minute. Those random moments that you get to talk to somebody can often produce a story or an insight, an emotional insight that you can transport to something else. That I found that all these conversations that I was having were like, kind of like, I see these stars behind you. They were like stars or a constellation of dots, and that you just have faith that they somehow inform you and make you better and smarter, and that they connect someday.
Well, it's so insightful that you look at these conversations that way. Because, I really have felt that effect on me personally over the years doing this. But the fact that you've sought it out just as an education, just as something that expands you. Because we really are a combination or an accumulation of all of our experiences. And the more experiences you can have, even if it doesn't feel tangible in that moment, it broadens your perspective. It broadens who you are.
Well, I think for you as well, because you still do stand-up. We were talking about that some of them works in my office saw you the other night, and you remembered who she was. She goes, he won't remember me. And you did.
She used to be on Kill Tony. Kill Tony is a great podcast that my friend Brian Redband and Tony Hinchcliffe do. And this podcast involves comedians going up and doing 1 minute of material in front of these professional comics. And the professional comics either say, hey, that was great, or they shit all over it, or everybody makes fun. There's a band, there's a bunch of chaos, and it's all done in front of a live crowd. And
That's
Vanessa was on it for quite a while.
Wow. Oh, yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
She tries hard. I know that. She works.
It's a hard business.
Yeah. But as I was saying, when I watch you do stand-up, because I made a point to catch up on it, you're really, really good. And I'm watching you tell stories that are comedic stories. You make them comedic. And I think I can tell, and you tell me if I'm wrong, that sometimes you don't know all the answers to that story. And I see that you're grabbing things that experiences or insights that lived in the environment that you've or had. Because I watched a couple of scenes very closely, and I know you didn't have it figured out, and you got the bigger laugh from the thing that you pulled from some place, I thought. Or you're just a really good actor.
There's a little bit of recreating that when you're doing that in stand-up, but oftentimes it's a combination of all those things. It's a combination of actually improvising in the moment and figuring it out in the moment, and then figuring it out in the moment and recreating it again.
Yeah.
And recreating it again the same way you did before, but being in the moment and being able to bring it into someone's attention as if you're recreating it, or give them the feeling that it's being recreated so that they can experience it. That's what stand-up is. There's revelations that you repeat, right? There's a moment, and then I'm like, wait, what the fuck is that about? But you have to be able to recreate that over and over and over again. And even though
a beginner's mind, you have to, it's brand new for you.
Right. And so that is how you're thinking for the people in the sense that,
of course, yes.
Say if you go to see a great comic like Bill Burr, right? And you're sitting in the audience and Bill's on stage, you're allowing him to think for you in a way.
Right.
Like he's taking you on a journey. So it has to
He's
be,
pointing left and right, and now we're
Yes.
going straight.
and you're just going along with it.
Yeah.
Like, this is the ride.
I like that.
I'm letting him take over the reins of my attention and my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a craft to that.
Yeah, you're the passenger. He's the
Yeah.
driver in the
Yes.
Formula One car.
Yes, yes. And so any great comic, whether it's Chris Rock or Dave Chappelle or whoever it is,
Yeah.
when they're on stage and they're killing, you are allowing them to think for you.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
So
I love it.
So they're trying to take you on an organic journey of understanding whatever the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
And explaining it to you in a way that's gonna like resonate. Like, this is how you would notice
You're
it.
allowing them
This
to-
is how you. And I'm like, hold up. Who the fuck brought the baby? You know, and then that kind of stuff is
Yeah,
like
yeah,
in that
yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
It has to feel like you're really realizing that somebody brought a fucking baby to a gun range or whatever it is,
Right.
whatever you're joking around
That's
about.
funny.
You know,
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is. These conversations are really kind of valuable on so many levels.
Yeah.
They're not like sometimes people will go. People sometimes just want to get to the end, like,
Right.
how do I make the money, But it's the journey is
Yeah.
really valuable,
Sure.
And
yeah. There's a lot of people that get into podcasts specifically because of that. They think there's money in podcasts. Like, how do you make money in podcasts?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had that conversation. I'm like, well, make a good podcast that people like.
Yeah.
But then you
kind
have
of simple.
And
yeah.
the best way to do that is to actually enjoy doing podcasts.
Right.
That's really the best way.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh, that sounds like a lot of work. It does. You also have to do it over a long enough period of time where people, like one person tells another person tells. One thing
Yeah.
that I've never done with this podcast, I've never advertised it in the sense that I never
Oh.
did anything to make it grow. I just did it. I just kept doing it. I never did anything. Like, I never took out ads. I never went on shows to promote it. I never did anything to promote it. I just did it. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to never have any thought at all about growing it. I only
right.
wanted to think about doing the best that I can.
Right.
And then it just became
do it,
what it
not
is.
make it a commercial experience.
Yes. I mean, it
became that.
It became that.
Yes.
But even while it's become that, I haven't changed. I've changed how I do it because I got better at it and because I became a different person as I've gone through my own personal evolution. But I don't change my thought on it, which is just do it. Just enjoy it and do the best I can and try whoever I'm talking to, try to connect with them. And some people like you, I'm connecting with really easily. It's fun.
Good. Thanks.
It's great.
Thanks.
I enjoy this conversation. It's great. It's easy.
Good.
But then some people, it's like a little bit of pulling teeth. You know,
Yes.
some people, it's harder. You're doing heavy lifting.
Yes,
but
for
it's
sure.
still enjoyable.
Yeah.
All of it. It's still like when it's heavy lifting, it's like, oh, okay, how do I solve this problem?
Yeah, I
do I-
totally know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. I had this female rapper at my house, a big, and I'm good at like creating conversation. It was almost impossible. It was like I wish
you recorded that one.
freaking out. Oh my god.
I'd like to hear that one.
Yeah. And then
How long did it last? Oh, finally you hit something?
No, finally I hit two things. Well, something. Finally,
Two things.
one thing was she liked to talk about. This is going to reveal who it is, and I ended up liking her so much. She liked to talk about stripping and prostitution.
Oh,
and,
okay, I know what that is.
and pimps. And she's like she's got a master's class on this.
Oh,
like
I'm
she's
sure.
a genius. Okay. So that she could do, but it took a long time to get there. Like really a lot of very polite to me, but kind of looking around a lot. Mm-hmm. And then
Uncomfortable with you.
well, she
or
just not
did-
knowing we weren't relating to each other.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
she's very street.
and then when she hit it, yes.
Yes.
I thought it was really funny and how she diagnosed the street, that thing. That, wow, she's like a scientist in this area.
Oh yeah, well a
So-
lot of hustlers are. A lot
Yeah.
of people that are,
Yeah.
hustling.
So she was really good. And then she and her husband decided they're really interested in some art that I had on the wall. And that produced more interest in more art. And then they wanted to know, like, why is this worth so much money? Well, how's pricing work? I say,
Yeah.
well, dealers. You go, well, what do you mean by dealers? I go, what's a dealer? So I explained what dealers were, like Larry Gagosian kind of sets the market. What does that mean? And then, then they were very interested in that.
Wow.
So then it got to be kind of longer, and then I had to go someplace.
But it worked out.
But it worked out really well. It worked out really. And so to your point, it was really, really hard to figure out this puzzle. And then I accidented upon a way to crack that puzzle, and that was really gratifying. And it was good enough that I'm talking about it on your show.
Yeah.
So it was memorable for sure.
So it elevated your people skills.
Yeah,
you added
it
another
did.
facet to your game.
I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
And you learned about pimps and hoes.
I did.
A little bit.
And pricing. And I learned pricing on that field, you know?
In that field.
In that field.
Yeah.
Like,
it is a field. It's just a suppressed field.
Yeah. She was really mad about the idea of a pimp. Like, why would anyone give a pimp money?
I understand that.
I don't get it. Yeah. Okay. So,
yeah.
But
I guess protection, right? Yeah, I mean,
I guess she wasn't acknowledging that as protection.
Well, maybe
but she's pretty sharp.
It.
Yeah. So there's that, and and so the other book I wrote, because this kind of ties in. This is kind of interesting because you asked actually. So what happened is, in my house, there was a new person that started working on our, like our staff at home kind of thing, working on the house staff kind of thing. I don't have I'm not like butlers. I'm not.
What do you mean by house staff?
Just like we have people that, housekeepers, that either cook or they clean but it's a team. I have a team.
Okay.
There's a team. Yeah. But I don't want to mislead you and make you think like I'm living in it's not.
This is what I'm
insane.
picturing. I'm picturing a dude with a napkin
No,
over his forearm.
no.
Mr. Grazer.
That's what I don't know. Please don't. So, yeah, it's not that. I'm glad that you pointed that out.
And then he gives you your top hat.
No,
You put your top hat on.
yeah, top hat and gets my tux ready every
you get
night.
into the Rolls Royce and they throw rose petals at your feet.
Yeah. Thurston Howell. No.
Hello.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's just like an organized place.
I get it. You're balling. It's all good.
Something. And so apparently she'd worked there. So that's funny. So she worked at our house for like almost 3 months. And she says to my wife, I really like Brian a lot. And my wife said, well, have you talked to him much? She said, well, I haven't talked to him very much, but every time he speaks to me, he always looks me directly in my eyes, and it makes me feel like a human being. And I thought of the simplicity of that. I thought, wow, just by looking at somebody directly in the eyes with not looking behind them, or you're just looking at them, it immediately is an equalizer. It says we're both equal. We're both species on this planet, the same species on this, and it makes me feel like a human being, gives me dignity. And then I thought, that's pretty powerful. I mean, this is only like 2 years ago. And then I retrofitted back all of those conversations I was alluding to, like 35 years of every week a curiosity conversation. And I thought, well, the only reason these conversations were good is I must have been really looking at these people in the eyes, and we were really dialed in. Otherwise, they wouldn't share these private things or these insights. They wouldn't share their heart with me if they didn't feel I was present with them.
Right.
And so that became kind of the thesis of this book, and that's why it's just called Face to Face, The Art of Human Connection. Because then I set all of this, I thought to myself, we're living right now in the loneliest time, in our generation. It's like an epidemic of loneliness.
Is it?
It is, actually. That all statistics point, millennials will admit that one quarter of them will admit that they're incredibly lonely, like where they can't almost cope with their loneliness.
Do you think that's digital lives?
I think it's digital lives for sure, because they're not even used to talking now, because everything is a text. And with kids, and I have a 16-year-old kid who just turned 16. They text each other when they're in the same room. They're sitting there watching Netflix, and they're texting each other like, who are you texting him? Johnny. Johnny's right there. Like right on the couch. Just talk to him. He's right there.
Yeah.
That's
weird.
It's weird. And this like dating, that's why these kids, they just ghost girls or ghost guys, like just vaporize, because they don't have feelings. When you don't talk to people.
Yeah.
Because you're really out there. You're feeling when you're feeling people all the time. When you feel people, you have empathy. You feel you feel their feelings, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And when you feel people's feelings, you try not to hurt their feelings.
Right. Yeah. 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 When you're actually in the presence of them instead of digitally. Yeah.
And when you feel people's feelings and you meet them and demystify whatever you think you heard about them, you tend to like them more for the most part, and you tend to love as opposed to have war. So it really is important in our lives from multiple levels, like just looking at people and going out of your way to connect.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So that's what this book's about, basically.
And doing that reaffirms it in yourself.
It does. Exactly. It reaffirms it in myself. Because it's like a tool. You're right. Exactly. You get it. Beyond get it. But it's like I learn off of it every day because I'm not perfect, but I make sure that when I get into elevators, I practice what I preach. I put my phone away. I don't go in the elevator and just look at my phone. I look at people. Or I'm just cool. I can relax, chill. And then often you make people feel better if you're actually looking at them.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. I've the last week I put a 1 hour limit on my phone use.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I put a 1 hour limit on whether it's apps
per day. You mean?
Yeah.
Per day, yeah.
Yeah, apps, whatever I'm using. And
that's a good
I've thought
idea.
about using thought about looking at the phone aimlessly.
Yeah.
And not. I've got this thing now that I'm doing where I just grab my phone and I go, no, and then I put it away. Because people are really, really addicted to phones.
They're really addicted.
And you don't realize until you look at that screen time, that reading that you get at the end of the day, and you're like, 5 hours? I'm
sure I'm in that, maybe 4.
A lot of us are.
Yeah.
But that digital connection, the connection to, you're missing this connection to other people. And it also, there's a certain amount of anxiety attached to it, where people are constantly checking their social media and checking their emails and their mentions and going back and forth with this and that and looking at this and that. And it's like, you're not in the real world. You're only living on this little tiny device, this little rectangular device. And it's weird.
Yeah, and it contributes to loneliness and disconnection and
unhappiness.
Yeah. It does.
And I don't know what the solution is other than abstinence.
Yeah.
Other than putting them away.
Well, at some point, I think I have this feeling that the privileged people, or essentially, I don't want to say it that way. I think it could be the most scarce and valued commodity is being present with human beings.
Yes.
And it's like, the cool kids, they do, they're listening to vinyls, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the people that are good at it are rare. The people that, like what you've done, you've practiced this idea of sitting down and talking to people on a regular basis, looking them in the eye and having meaningful conversations. You've made a choice. You've made a concerted effort to do that, and that's not common. And most people don't have good people skills. I mean, I've learned how to not interrupt people. I've learned how to not talk so much. I've learned how to listen. I've learned how to interact. And I've also learned when people are not good at it. Some people, you're talking to them and they're not even listening to you. They're just waiting for their turn to talk.
Yes. I have a couple of guys I know that do that.
It's frustrating.
It is frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you kind of go, what's the point of this?
Yeah, we're not connecting. We're not connecting. Like we both like.
Or I'm sure you meet people that will ask you 3 questions basically at the same time, like bam, bam, bam. And you're trying to answer the first question, and then you realize now we're sharp enough to know that they don't really want to know the answer.
Yeah, they might be just on Adderall, just firing questions at you. What about this? The sky's blue. How do I know it's blue for you? What is blue?
I just had lunch with one of my funniest close friends. His name is Jimmy Iovine, and he's a music producer, and he and Dre created this Beats, and we've known each other I guess 30 years. We were at this restaurant called, I won't even say it's a Greek restaurant, Beverly Hills, and our waiter, Jimmy goes, that dude's on Adderall. Because he was I said, it's too much Tony Robbins for me. He said, no, it's Adderall.
Yeah.
But he was just like, you couldn't finish a sentence,
Mm-hmm.
or we said, okay, we think we know what we want. We're going to have the branzino. And he rattled off like 10 dishes. We realized we couldn't stop him. We knew we said what we wanted.
Right.
He didn't want to hear. He wanted to do the other 9.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
a common
I
thing
agree
today.
with you.
Incredibly common. There's a lot of people on speed.
Yeah.
A lot. And the doctors are just
really?
prescribing
Actually
it.
on speed.
That's what Adderall is.
Yeah. So you think people are really? That's the thing. I don't know that much about that.
It's legal speed. Adderall is legal speed prescribed by a doctor. If you went to a doctor right now, if you went to the right doctor
Yes.
and said, I just feel listless, I'm having a hard time connecting, I'm having a hard time getting motivated. Oh, I got the thing for you, Brian.
Wow.
Here you go. And then you'd be like, I am organized. And you know what? It's about me. It's about me. Because Brian's out here fucking kicking ass. There's a lot of other people that are slacking. They're all losers. This guy's a loser. That guy's a loser.
That's really hilarious.
But isn't that the Adderall mindset?
That is the Adderall mindset.
Adderall mindset. It's basically a low-level meth mindset. It's speed. It's
super
amphetamines.
jacked up.
Yep,
like not
jacked
listening, just talking.
And
it's almost like assaultive, isn't it?
Well, you can get productive. You can get a lot done with that.
Yeah.
But it's just there's a lack of connection.
Yeah, there is.
A severe lack of empathy. Yeah.
Sorry, it's not really real. It's like,
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird sort of vibe that
I'm going to look for it, and I'm going to prospect for it.
Oh, there's a lot out there. You'll find it. It's mining for gold. It's like, I didn't realize there's gold in Death Hills.
That's funny.
If you go prospecting for people that have Adderall,
That are on Adderall.
You better have a large cargo to put it in, a large train box.
I got to check it out. Because I thought it was funny when he said it, and I thought, and he goes, no, this is really true. Like what you would say to me right now.
Yeah.
He goes, no, this guy, he's actually on it. And I go,
Yeah.
Really? And he says, yeah. How does a guy become that guy? He literally was on the table.
A lot of writers, a lot of journalists,
yes,
a lot of journalists, a lot of people that have to deadlines and they have to push and they run out of energy. A lot of them are on Adderall. It's extremely, extremely common. Extremely common with very productive people, very ambitious people, business people, people that do a lot of meetings, people that work 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day.
Wow.
It gives you the energy to do that. And then they take Ambien to crash. And there's a double whammy going on.
We know that's not good.
No. Yeah. There's millions and millions of people that are on that stuff.
Do they ever, if you ever ask somebody on the show, like, oh, you probably wouldn't. Well, I don't know. Does anyone ever tell you they're on it?
Yes.
Oh,
I've had
really?
people tell me. Yeah.
Like at comedy clubs or on the show?
No, I've had people tell me on the show that
Wow.
they take Adderall. I've had people in real life tell me they've taken Adderall. I mean, I've had people justify it. I've had people talk about it with a little bit of shame that they would like to not be on it, but they're on it because it helps them be productive and they got to do what they got to do. Yeah, but the real revelation was I have a friend who's a journalist, and he was talking to me about how many journalists are on it. He's not on it. I go, well, how many? He goes, fucking all of them. And I'm like, are you serious? He goes, dude, it would blow your mind. It would blow your mind how many of them.
Wow.
Because it's so effective.
See, I wouldn't
If you don't
really
do
know.
it. No, I've never messed with it.
Yeah.
But if you do, Jamie, you've tried it, right?
Yeah.
How was it?
Did not like it. I had to call off the next day at work because I thought I could go to sleep.
But
I
your
literally
heart
took a
was
little bit
Yeah.
just to do some artwork because I knew I was going to have to.
You have an
long day.
unusual constitution. Like
Sure,
Jamie,
maybe, I guess, yeah.
Edible marijuana does not affect him.
Ooh.
Like literally, he could take 1,000 milligrams and play video games.
Or more.
Jeez.
Or more. Or more.
Okay.
1,000 milligrams put most people under the couch for life. They'd be like, no, I'm hiding.
Wow.
Jamie can handle it.
I cannot do that. I can't do it. You know, there was a minute I was single, and a girl said to me, let's have one of these lollipops. She pulled them out of her refrigerator.
Oh, boy.
So I took a little lick of a lollipop, she whatever, and it was interesting. It wasn't terrible. The next weekend, I see the girl again. I'm at my house and she. I hope I'm not going to. Let me see if I'm okay here. But she says, I got more lollipops. And I thought, well, that was kind of fun. I lick on this lollipop. Oh my God! It so freaked me out. I called my doctor, Dr. Dennis Evangelatos. That's his name. I'm saying that's okay. He's good, and he. I said, I need you to come over right now and sleep over. He goes, he slept he slept in my bedroom at the foot of my bed.
That's a good doctor.
He was so good. I said, he's right in Westwood and I was in Malibu, and I said, I'm serious. He goes, look, this is what will happen. I can tell you exactly what happens. It goes up and it's going to come down, everything. I go, I don't think I can survive it. I am too scared. So he said he'll sleep over, and he slept over the whole night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem with those.
He's a good
those
doctor.
lollipops and candies and stuff like that. They're
You've
not
never
consistent.
done it, have you?
What?
Oh, I don't know.
All the time, man. Yeah, constantly.
I don't think so.
Yes, honestly.
You did? Really?
Yeah, I smoke a lot of pot. I eat a lot of pot.
Swear?
Oh yeah, I got
You
a box
seem-
of it right here.
But you seem so physical.
Surrounded by it.
Can you?
yeah, you're
you
surrounded by it.
Oh,
There's
so you
weed
can
everywhere.
actually-
This is all. This is weed.
That's
This
not
is-
weed.
You want to smoke it and see if you go to
I
Pluto?
can't-
I don't
That
want
fat
to.
one
That's
right
Mike
there.
Tyson's
I don't
weed.
believe you.
That fat one right
Okay,
there. That's
wait a
weed.
second.
That's weed right there. Yeah.
Okay, you
This
tell
whole
me.
box is
You
filled
guys
with
tell me
weed.
the truth.
Oh,
Let me
here's
see.
some
Let me see
mushrooms.
that. Well, that looks
Our
real.
big box
That
just got
looks
taken
real.
away. It's
Smell
getting
that.
filled right now. We could
Let me
I
smell.
could open that for you.
Wow, this is.
That's real.
Jeez.
Eat one of these. That'll put you on the moon.
Step
No,
on.
I can't do anything. I'll need my doctor. Yeah, that's really wow. But I
Yeah.
like the smell of
Me too.
pot and stuff.
Yeah,
but
it
I
smells
don't-
good.
But I know it's not good for me. It's not my thing.
get it.
Margarita tonight, maybe tonight actually.
margarita?
Yeah, I like margarita.
I do too.
This you got all your stuff.
Be careful
there,
with
all your
those.
snacks. No, I'm not going to touch it.
Okay, this is
What's
this
that
one's-
one?
This is a real issue.
Can you do it during the day?
If you want to die.
Spray.
Oh.
Yeah, no, you can. Yeah, of course.
I mean, can
Oh, the
you do
spray.
it during the day and
Oh,
be
yeah.
functional, highly functional? like
Yes,
this?
I can. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I really admire you.
Well, it works.
I mean,
with,
more than
with
ever.
me. It works with
Because
my.
you're so high functioning.
Yeah, but it just makes me more sensitive. That's what marijuana
Wow.
does to me. But the paranoia, I kind of just I embrace it. You know, the paranoia that comes with being really, really high.
Wow.
I just meditate, calm down, embrace it,
And enjoy
ride the
it.
wave. Yeah, yeah. A lot of the freaking out comes from freaking out.
Yes,
It's,
that's,
you know,
that's
like,
what
so
it with me.
You're freaking out, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
my god, I'm freaking out.
Yes,
and then you
I'm
freak
watching
out more.
myself. I'm going, oh, I'm out of control.
Yeah.
I think I'll freak out. And then that's what
It
happens.
sounds crazy, but it makes me a nicer person.
Wow.
Yeah, it makes me nicer. I want to be better. I want to be a better person because
Amazing.
it highlights all the flaws that I find in my own personality and my own life. Well, whatever things I've done that I'm not proud of or that I think are mistakes. It highlights them, and it makes me think, more
Soften
diligently.
it a little bit.
Be a better person.
Jeez. That's
It
good.
enhances my sense of community. Makes you more sensitive.
I'm
Makes
getting a
food taste
contact
better.
high right now.
Well, this is sober October for me, so I'm not doing anything.
Can you do that? I guess you can.
Yeah. I don't have an addiction, but me and my
it's
buddies.
choice. You dig it.
Yes.
It's fun.
And we
And you and
do-
your buddies are cool with it.
Yeah, we do sober October. So
Okay.
the entire month of October every year, we do something like last year we did a fitness challenge.
What's that thing? It's like Ramadan.
Yeah, it's like Ramadan for us. The year before that, we did hot yoga. We had to do 15 hot yoga sessions over the month.
Jeez.
Yeah, this year we have to do 10 classes of any kind, and we have to read 500 pages of any book.
Wow.
Yeah, so we do it.
Like to test yourselves. And
Yeah,
stuff.
but just and it's fun.
In a
and
cool way,
people
yeah.
join along. And this year we're all wearing these Whoop straps. So
What is a
everybody
whoop strap?
A Whoop strap is it's a fitness monitor that works with this application that works on your phone that it monitors heart rate variability. So it tells you, first of all, it tells you how much you're sleeping, which is very revealing.
Yeah.
It tells you what kind of sleep you're getting, and it gives you very detailed analytics. It shows it.
How much do you sleep? Can we just stay on that one second? Because I have
good-
sleep apnea, so I know because I go to an app. I have an app.
Okay. So do you use a CPAP machine?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Two guys in a row use a CPAP. My friend Chris Ryan, who's here right before you, uses a CPAP machine.
This is my thing. Look at this.
I have sleep apnea as well.
Look, I got 87 last night.
Uh-huh.
I had a bad
What is
night's.
87?
That's the score. That's the
what is that?
computation. It's
Right.
like a coefficient. How many? Okay. I wear glasses, but you can see it right
Yeah.
there.
It says 87, but what does that mean? How many hours? Okay, 5 hours and 52.
I think 37. Was it 552?
Yes. Usage
Wow.
hours, it says 5 hours and 52. It says
Good.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the seal.
Yeah,
and
okay, good, make a seal. It says you had 6
How many
events
interruptions?
per hour.
Event. 6
Yeah.
events per
Yeah,
hour?
that's what it says.
Wow, that's not good.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably right. I didn't sleep well
Actually, it
last
says
night.
0.6. Is that the same thing as 6?
no.
What does that mean? Oh, so you didn't have 6 an hour.
Yeah, 6 an hour is a lot.
Well, it's weird because it says 0.6 and then it says 5 in the corner. What does that mean?
5 total over the
5
6 hours
total?
of sleep.
Oh,
so
look,
it's
see.
less than one.
Look at you wizard.
Well, he measures
so-
pot. He can do he's like a pound of pot, not a problem.
It says mask on and off 4. So you took your mask off 4 times?
To pee and
okay.
to pee twice and then twice because I was obsessing over something and I
thinking.
had to break the obsession.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wear a mouthpiece.
Dude, those are
presses
hard.
down on my tongue.
Yes.
And keeps my tongue from falling back over the hole in my mouth.
Oh, so it's
my
not about
throat.
your teeth; it's about
No.
falling back.
Yes. Yeah.
What is that thing? What's that called?
When
That would happen. Who doesn't matter what it's called, but you have it.
Dr. Kevorkian. Is that his name? Keropian.
No, I think-
Kevorkian's the murderer guy.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
he's
Keropian.
You
Dr. Keropian.
obviously knew that.
Whoops, it was a mistake. But yeah, it just keeps your tongue from falling back. I have a fat tongue. That's my problem.
Fat?
It
Wow,
closes the air hole.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it keeps it from doing that.
A lot to be said about that.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay.
so what the Whoop strap does is it monitors all your
these
sleep, but it also measures heart rate variability, so it tells you whether you're tired or not. So if you've had a hard workout and then you're still a little beat down the next day, it'll show you on the application. Like,
Wow.
here's your heart rate. Your heart rate is responding to the fact that you had an extremely stressful, physically stressful day. So good stresses and bad stresses, exercise and lack of sleep, all those things are monitored, and it gives you like pretty detailed analytics. So we're all wearing these straps, and we're doing these 10 different classes. Like we've done tactical gun classes and
Jeez.
yoga classes and boxing classes. And the whole idea about the month is sort of just helping yourself, like doing things that are good for you. Self-help.
Great. Got it. I see.
Yeah.
Like, self-help.
Yeah.
Like, this is the month of getting smarter, better.
Yeah, learning some new shit. Meditating, getting an education, reading 500
Who are
pages
the
of some
guys?
books.
You have to
Tom
say
Segura,
Oh,
who's a stand-up
okay.
comedian,
Okay.
Bert Kreischer, another comedian, and Ari Shafir, and myself. And we've done this for the last the first year Tom and Bert had a weight loss challenge, and then the second year we said, okay, we'll all jump in and we'll all be sober this time because they weren't sober the first time. Like they just lost weight, and we'll all be sober, and we'll all have to fulfill these number of hot yoga classes. So 15 90-minute hot yoga classes, and then the next year we
15, 90 minutes.
Yes.
Ooh,
yes.
wow.
And then the next year we
That's
had a
brutal.
crazy fitness challenge that got a little out of hand, so we decided not to compete with each other anymore because we were literally going 5, 6, 7 hours a day of working out. Yeah, 7 hours a day of cardio. It was bananas.
That's
It was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was getting high on exercise. And so
Yeah.
then this year...
I'm not in your group. I know. I know why now.
This year it was just the fitness classes, different classes, 10 classes, and then 500 pages of any book, just reading something.
Pretty great.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It gives me something to do. We look forward to it, and then a lot of fans do it along with us. So a lot of people go sober through the month and join in with us. And
Fans
some people,
from the show
Yeah.
say, hey, I want to be part of this.
Yeah,
one.
they just jump in. I mean, you can wear a Whoop strap too. You can
Yeah.
compare the amount of sleep and the amount of exercise that you get to us. But more importantly, for people, it's nice for people that maybe don't even know that they have a little bit of an issue with substances. I mean, maybe they're not
Yes.
alcoholics or drug addicts, but maybe they just are indulging a little too much. And so they'll get this break for October because they're committed for the entire month. And then what they see is like, you know what? I feel a lot better. And, I don't have a problem, but I do feel a lot better when I'm not drinking all the time because I'm going to comedy clubs
Yeah.
and I'll have a couple beers. Hey, you want to do a shot? All right, let's do a shot. And then the next day I'm like, oh, and then I go to the gym and it's like a little bit more of a struggle.
Yeah.
But this entire month, what is it today, the 23rd? There's none of that. This entire month is just you feel
You're
good.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you realize like that is an unnecessary tax
Right.
on your system. Alcohol in particular. Pot doesn't make me feel like shit the next day, but it definitely does some wonky things to your memory.
Pot does.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
For
Okay.
sure. We
Yeah,
all have pot
okay.
memory. All of us.
Pot.
Yeah, pot memory is weird. Yeah, it's just like it
That's
definitely does something to your memory. I mean, that's pretty much been proven.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So that's
right.
what we do all the
That's
month.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do these guys? Oh, and you guys can afford to do that because you can still work.
Yeah. We still do
And
stand up.
still do-
Still
yeah.
do podcasts. Still do everything. Yeah. And then we have No Remember November where we get blitzed.
Okay, that is hilarious. So you have something to look forward to, right?
Not really. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't really. I definitely
You don't mean
went,
blitz. You just
no.
go for it. A little
Yeah,
bit.
went hard
Have
a
fun.
couple of days in November last year, but
man.
nothing
That's
crazy.
super funny. And your buddies are funny guys.
Yeah,
so they
it's
keep
fun.
you keep each other. Yeah,
Well, it's a camaraderie thing too.
Yeah.
The four of us, it's a lot of bonding and it's very fun. Like the podcasts we have are very fun.
Yeah.
And the one that we did when Sober October was over last year was ridiculous. We were barbecued. It was very fun. Yeah. But it is a good thing for people just to have that 1 month reset of their system.
Yeah.
Just to give them a perspective like, hey, maybe it'd be better if you didn't drink.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be better if you took some time off. Maybe it'd be better if you exercised and really thought about things this way. I mean, we're only doing it once a month, but we even proposed doing it a couple times a year.
and it proves to. I guess obviously it does prove to you can do it.
Yes.
and that's an important
Yeah.
thing. It's like having an exit, right?
Yeah.
You know, when you're trapped on a boat or you're someplace with people, you have an exit here.
Yeah.
You know you can do it.
Well, the motivation for a lot of it was our friend Bert, who drinks way too much. And he's calmed down quite a bit, apparently, because of doing that first podcast where we did go sober for the whole month. Because we didn't think he could do it. Because even during the weight loss challenge, Tom, who won the weight loss challenge, Tom didn't drink anything but water the entire month and worked out like crazy and lost a ton of weight. Bert kept drinking the entire month and also worked out like crazy and tried to lose weight.
And what happened?
He lost.
Oh,
He couldn't compete with Tom.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
I mean, it was a dumb way of doing it. It wasn't as effective.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Do you now there's this new, I guess, nutritional exercise or weight loss. I don't want to only call it that, of like, what is it? 16 hours, I don't know, is it 10 hours on, 10 hours off?
Oh, intermittent
What's that thing?
fasting? Is that what you're
Intermittent
talking about?
fasting,
Yeah.
yes.
Basically,
See, I
missing
can't
breakfast.
lose weight. So, I mean, I'm happy. I don't need to lose weight, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But I could get stronger and have better, disciplines in areas. So, but that particular thing is about losing weight, I think, right?
Mostly. It's about losing weight, but it's also about feeling better and raising your ketone levels, which
yeah.
is one thing that does happen when you go long periods of time and you get your body accustomed to this period of time where you're not eating, this timed eating or whatever they call it. What is the term they refer to it as? It's not just intermittent fasting. There's time-restricted eating.
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah.
Okay.
There's some benefit on your digestive system as well. So your body's not eating, 10 hours a day, 15 hours a day, or, even more with some people. Some people are just eating constantly throughout the day. Instead of this, you have a 4-hour window or a 6-hour window or an 8-hour window, whatever you decide it is. And during that time, you can eat. But after that, it's over. And then you cannot eat for X amount of hours, whether it's 10 or
That'd be
12
tough.
or 14. Yeah. You get accustomed to it, though.
Yeah, see, my goal, because I don't know if I could, I'm sure you could prove me wrong, but I'm not sure I could do any of those really strict disciplines of any type almost. So I've always thought, if I do everything with moderation, I might not have to do one of these things that I might find to be too hard. Too
The strict, it's
Yeah.
not hard. It's not hard.
It's not?
No,
Seems hard.
It does seem hard.
Seems really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get used to it, though. You honestly get used to it, and then once you do get used to it, then it becomes normal.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's
So once you get like a couple, 3 days, 4 days, or a week or something, I don't know.
Yeah. Once you get a few days in, it's no big deal. Yeah. You
So
get used to it.
Is that a way of saying that if I really committed to it, it's possible I could do it?
Of course you
Okay,
could do it.
all right, okay.
Look, you're an accomplished man. You can do anything you want. You just have to force yourself to do
have
it.
to force myself.
Just decide.
I need a compelling reason
right.
to do it.
Sure. Well, that's
Yeah.
one of the
like if a
beautiful
doctor
things.
said,
Right.
Yeah, okay,
Get that doctor that sleeps over your house. Get him to write a prescription. But like the thing that we talked about, like Sober October,
Yes.
one of the things about it is that we all know that this is coming. It's October 1st, boom, boom, it's here.
Yeah.
So you're committed for the month. It's not like a wishy-washy
Are
ideal.
you nervous about it?
No.
Is there
No,
any
no.
anticipatory
Yeah, you
stress?
think about No, not really, but you
Okay.
think about it.
You
We've
think
done
about
it
it.
a couple of years
Yeah.
in a row now, 3 years in a row. But
Yeah.
the thing about it is that it's there. It's a real thing. It starts. And then you can't be wishy-washy. Like
Right.
part of the thing that people have a problem with diets and with exercise routines is that they're wishy-washy. They give themselves a way out. If you know that you have to work out 1 hour 6 days a week,
Yeah.
every day you have to work out 1 hour. You get 1 day a week off.
And there's
You
no
have
che-
to.
yes.
There's no cheating.
Yeah.
And you write it down on a schedule and you decide all the month of November, I'm going to work out 1 hour a day, 6 days a week, period. And then I'm going to
Done.
write it down. I'm going to mark my calendar with an X every time I accomplish that. Well, if you just do that, you're going to get it done. But if you
Yes.
say, I need to work out more. Well, that's not a very specific
If
goal.
you're a little flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
doesn't
not
work.
specific.
Yeah. You have to go, there's no, this is absolute.
Yes.
These boundaries are
Yes.
inflexible.
You have to hold yourself accountable.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you're accountable.
All right. When I pick something up like that, I'm going to let you know.
What would you want to do? Like if you wanted to do something, if you had a thing and you say,
What would I want to do? Maybe I'm not drinking for a month. I've never
do that.
I haven't done that.
how about no booze November?
Well, that's coming up. Maybe
Yeah.
for next year, you mean? I need to
time
warm up.
prepare?
I got to warm up.
How much time do you need to prepare?
A year sounds good.
Okay. Sober October. Why don't you do Sober October with us next year?
Wow.
How about that? That gives you a whole
It's in my
year.
mind. I got it.
Not
All
sure.
right. I'll
Sounds
see.
a little wishy-washy.
Well, I'm going to try to think about doing it.
Yeah, you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
But
I can try to warm up and think it's possible.
you
right?
certainly could do it.
Yeah.
You
I
certainly
probably could do it. I mean, I took a week off and then it was very I could have gone
Was it boring?
No, I could have gone yes, a little bit. It was a little bit. But I thought after the week I could keep going, but then I thought I don't know, it's kind of nice luxury to have a margarita or a glass of wine.
It is a nice luxury.
So I thought, I don't know, no one's making me not. I'll just go back to drinking.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, I have no reason, you know.
Right.
But if I had reasons, then I didn't want to wear that sleep apnea machine, and I put it off for 5-6 years.
Really?
Yeah, and then by the way, these sleep apnea machines got smaller and smaller and smaller and less intrusive, so now they're very easy.
Yeah.
But it still was somewhat intrusive, and now I always sleep with it. I never thought I would do that because I thought, I'm laying with my wife. I like to feel like I'm a romantic guy or something, or could be.
You sound like Darth Vader.
No, no, that's what it sounds like. Yes.
Yeah, it's Darth Vader.
It does. I don't know how she perceives it.
Ask her.
I will.
She won't be honest.
She wants me on it. She calls it the tube of life. You have the tube of life on?
Oh, that's a
I mean,
good way
she
of
wants
putting
me
it.
to live. Like, so
Sure.
yeah. So thank God.
Well, it really does.
I mean,
give
she's
you-
sleeping right next to me. I'm glad she wants me to live.
She probably doesn't want you to snore either.
Yeah, I don't snore. I never snored.
Really?
Yeah, the sleep apnea that I had wasn't a snoring. It was more like that
choking kind.
Yeah, the choking kind of thing where you'd you stop breathing.
Right.
So it's not snoring.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary stuff. A lot of people have it.
Well, yeah.
It's terrible for your health.
Yes,
That
it's
lack of
terrible for
sleep.
your health, and you lose oxygen to your brain.
Yeah.
There's all these different things, and so anyway, to leave that alone because I do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to jinx myself out here. I'm very superstitious, so I
Really?
very, very, very. So if I'm doing something right, I don't want to brag about it. I don't want to do it because then I'll think
You fucked it up.
I don't want
Right.
to fuck with things. Like there's when an equilibrium has been found, whatever that thing is, I just quiet down on it.
So you find something that works. You find a good vibe.
Yeah, but
and
I
you
don't
stick with it.
I don't brag about it. I don't say a thing because then I think, maybe something will happen.
Right.
So I once was fat, actually.
Really?
Chub, like, rolls, like the guys that have rolls of fat and the thing. And I was with a girl who, was a very, very serious, young and everything. And we went to her beach. Her beach was called Little Doom, Doom Beach, Little Doom. And she talks to these. She goes, I have to go talk to these guys, and they were the cool surfer dudes, and it was like 25 years ago, 30 years ago, and she talks to these guys, and they start laughing, and I go, what are you guys laughing at? To her, because she's now left these, and they're back there, and I see a chorus of them kind of laughing. They go, well, I guess they're laughing because they said, we never thought you'd be with like a fat guy. And I thought, wow, they look at me and that's what they're seeing and they think it's funny. I got to fix this. And that was like the straight up October forever for me.
That is what's called fat shaming.
Fat shaming.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. There's a phrase.
Yeah. You never heard of fat shaming?
Never heard it.
Well, it's a very controversial thought because some
Fat
people think
shaming.
that fat shaming is terrible and that you shouldn't do it to people. And
works
other
on
people
me.
say that fat it's true. It does work on certain people, but it makes people feel bad. And some people think you should protect people from feeling bad, whereas other people think you should tell them that they're fat so they feel bad, so they act on it.
How do you see it?
I say
Where does
I'm
Joe
the latter.
Rogan call it?
I'm the latter. I think you should tell people that they're fat if they want to know.
God, you said.
I don't think you should go after people and make them feel
if
like
they want to
shit.
know, you mean like
if they want to know, I don't think you should protect
like
them from it.
okay, give me the signal of if you want to know. Like you're with some friend, let's say you're with someone you only know a little bit.
I wouldn't say anything.
Then okay, so now you're with. So we're talking about like relatives, or no? You're talking about a husband, wife, or boyfriend, girlfriend.
That's tough because they can resent you forever.
Yeah,
you got to be real careful, especially with the ladies.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're a man and you resent your wife forever because she tells you you're fat, you're probably not really a man.
That's really funny.
You might be a little bitch.
Oh my God!
Right?
I can't believe you said that.
Really?
I mean, I like it because it's. I don't know what you. No, I like it. You might be a little bitch.
You might be a little bitch. Yeah. If your wife says you're fat, and like if my wife tells me I'm fat, I'm like, I'm not fat.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It only works if you're fat. It's one thing if they're saying something about.
Yeah.
You know,
I get it.
It's one thing if they're saying something about something you can't control. Like, I wish you were black. I don't like white guys.
Okay, I have a
then
question.
You feel terrible.
So it sounds like you have no boundaries on your show.
Right.
Okay. The guys that have really little dicks.
Ooh, that's a rough one.
I got it. I'm hearing you. So, do you think do you think and the girl and the guy are together? Okay. Did the girl ever say you have a little? Do they ever? I'm
sure some girls
do. They say it?
But here's the thing: some girls.
I mean, we feel pretty like rough guys. We can talk about it. No.
I think some girls who are who are beautiful girls.
Yeah.
Are also lesbians.
Oh yes, that's true. Yeah.
So some girls,
it's popular to be.
Some girls who are beautiful girls are bisexual. So they like girls and guys. Here's the question: would those girls be more likely to settle for a guy with a little dick?
Yes.
Or
a rich guy with a little dick.
Is it they like girls to be girls and like guys, no matter what, to have a big dick?
All right, I think they're like probably the latter.
Probably, unfortunately. Evolution's a motherfucker, really is.
Yeah.
I think that there's not a damn thing a person can do about that one. No, you could suck fat out of your waist and stuff it in your ass. You could get fake boobs. There's a lot of shit you can do. If you got a little dick, that's a wrap, son.
It's a wrap, son.
There's not much you can do. I mean, there's some operations that can help you out a little.
Yeah, but I think that.
But for the most part,
yes.
Yeah, cutting and dick. Those
do you
two
think
words don't go together
makes
well.
guys crazy when they have?
For sure.
Yeah, I think it might
guaranteed.
Too.
It must.
Yeah.
It must make them suicidal. Because it's whenever
what if we started
that you
throwing
can't
shit
control,
right now? That would mean like we had little dicks.
Maybe you'd have to go crazy. I think there's certain things that there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to handle that roll of the dice, whatever you got.
Yeah, I would guess.
Yeah, that's one of them. But I mean, if things like CRISPR and genetic manipulation and things they're working on now, that's probably one of the first things they're going to work on. That's financial.
Wow, I never thought of it.
You just
you just
know how much
hatched
money
that
there is
right
in
on
that?
the show today.
I think I've
In
thought
your
about it before.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest with you, but I don't think there's anything
funny.
more profitable except
Yeah.
beauty. Beauty would be incredibly
Yeah.
profitable for people who
But
were
they're
not
both
born.
fall in that same department. Well,
Yes.
somewhat.
Yes.
Same area. Yeah.
Yeah, being
Like whatever it is, cosmetics.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not just cosmetics, but even people that are not
Well, a guy
happy
with a little
their
dick,
frame.
you're not
Yeah.
operational.
No, you're not operational. I mean, maybe one day they'll be able to do something.
Yeah.
They shoot a little virus into your body, and then all of a sudden, yeah,
That'd be something.
it can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not insurmountable scientifically.
Yeah.
There's so many things that they're already doing with genetic manipulation.
Yeah.
That's not outside the realm.
Yeah,
of
it's not outside the
possibility.
realm. It seems possible. Let's start calling our scientists right
Yeah,
now.
call them up.
Yeah, and see what
what's
they
up.
say.
Yeah.
So anyway, I learned about fat shaming. I got that. That's
Can't
very
believe you didn't know
interesting.
about that.
I
That's like in
didn't.
the zeitgeist right now.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
people
I
get
missed
mad at
that
people
one.
for fat shaming. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. James Corden got mad at Bill Maher.
Did
Bill
he?
Maher was mocking fat shaming. He was like, maybe we should be shaming people more.
To him directly?
No.
Oh, just.
Bill Maher was talking about on his television show that maybe we should be shaming people more.
Oh, I see.
And then James Corden said, I have a problem with that. And, he's talking,
Yeah.
made a bunch of fat jokes, which I found were kind of weird. You're making fat jokes while you're being upset that someone's calling you fat.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you thought he could get that one by you, but then that one didn't get by you.
No, but he also does have a comedy talk show, so it makes
Yes.
sense that he was making jokes and he's
Yeah.
being comedic in his. But
He does have a comedy. Yes, he does have a comedy talk show.
it's not something that you can't fix, and that's one of the things that people have a problem with being sympathetic about it. And I
Yeah.
think that was Bill Maher's statement because Bill is obviously a very slim man.
Yeah.
But it's not something you can't fix. It's a problem to fix. It's
Yeah.
hard to fix.
It's hard, probably
It
hard to
requires
fix.
discipline,
Yeah.
and also your gut biome's probably all screwed up from eating bad foods, and you probably are accustomed to certain behavior patterns that are unhealthy for you.
Yeah.
The times you're eating, the kind of foods you're eating.
Yeah, all that.
You know.
I fixed mine with, but I mean, I wasn't fat in that really.
You fix it with shame.
I fixed it with shame. She shamed me,
Ah.
and I started jumping rope. And I started with I do everything with an achievable goal. I just did a couple minutes, and I just kept going, and then pretty soon, I did the rope with that had a counter on it with those plastic beads that gives a little weight and a nylon rope, a nylon cord, and you could really get it going. So I
Yeah.
could do 200 beats a minute for 30 minutes, and you're holding your body very tight. So it actually, I didn't think of it that way, but it really strengthened my core.
Yeah, jumping rope is amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you obviously do.
Yeah, it's great.
You
It's
do
great
it
for
only to warm
footwork.
up, or
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
I just do it to kind of
footwork.
get going. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for boxers, that's why the boxers use it so much. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a staple of boxing workouts.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're always on your toes. You
Yeah.
know? So it keeps your calves conditioned and
Oh.
helps your body ability to
Yes.
shift movement.
Yeah.
I mean, strong calves and strong feet are very, very important for boxing and anything that requires movement. Football players, a lot of football players use
Yes.
jump rope to help their ability to move side to side and help their
Interesting.
mobility.
Yeah.
Great workout too. Just great cardiovascular.
Yeah.
It's very trendy right now too.
Is it?
Yes.
Another trendy
Yes,
thing.
another trendy thing.
Yeah, the antidote to fat shaming.
Well, there's a lot of videos online where
Ah.
people are doing like these YouTube workouts of jumping rope, and then they also have weighted ropes, which makes it more.
I
intense.
used a weighted rope too.
Yeah.
I used to go everywhere with these ropes. So if I
Yeah?
were in an airport, I'd be doing it. I remember being on a tarmac in Greece, in Athens, waiting, and I was doing it. I would do it in the rain. I would do. I always did every day. I did it. That
That's
I did
awesome.
with without fail for almost 12 years.
Wow. Do you have a trainer, a personal trainer?
I do now. I didn't then, but I do now. Because I think, well, it helps me so much. Also,
Sure.
it helps me get into the gym without fail because I don't want to have him wait, Derek.
Shout
by
out
the
to
way, Derek. I shouted to Derek because I said something about I'm doing Joe Rogan, and he goes, "Oh, I listen to him all the time." I go, "Give me some insight." I really started collecting stuff. He had, in fact, I could even show you. He wrote notes. I didn't read them because I didn't feel like I had to. But literally, I'm sorry. But anyway, so Derek, okay. Oh, it's so long. I mean, this is embarrassing, and I didn't read it, so. Okay, so every morning it's good morning, bro. Good morning, bro. Good morning, bro. That means he's here.
Good morning, bro.
And this is it. Hey, bro, you wanted a text about bro?
Is Derek a bro? He sounds like a bro.
He's a guy from Detroit. He says bro a lot. Yes. He's not a. I don't know how bro-y, but he does go, hey, bro. And actually, I've even said to him a nice way. Don't say hey bro every morning because it just doesn't. He goes hey bro like that, and I want to say you got to chop it up a little bit.
Mix it up. Hey fella.
Mix it up. Yeah.
Is that bad? Is fella bad?
It'd be funny.
I call people fella all the time.
Yeah, well, I think it'd be funny you saying hey fella. I like that. Like
Fella's
a strong guy going hey fella.
What's up fella?
I'm gonna try it.
I like fella.
Yeah, hey fella. I mean, all your millions of listeners will know that I'm ripping from you. Well, you gave it to me. You said you could say it.
That's not mine.
I
hey
like
fella's
it. Hey
not
fella.
mine. I say it all the time, but I don't know where I heard it from.
Gently, or how do you?
Hey fella. I say it like that.
Yeah.
Like if I saw you, I'd be like, hey fella.
I like it.
Now I'm thinking about it though. Now it sounds weird because I'm being self-conscious. But
but you'll get once I'm off the show. Tomorrow you're gonna get back to it.
It'll go back to normal.
I like it. I'm gonna feel that.
Yeah, it's not an issue.
Okay.
So what is Derek? What kind of advice did he give you
on the show?
Yeah.
It said I didn't look at it, but when he gave me some advice, he said. He told me your background. First of all, I didn't realize the chronology of your background. I didn't know he knows New Jersey, right? He just knew all the stuff.
Oh, so he did
New Jersey.
Wikipedia.
Well, I think he did more than Wikipedia. No, I know. That sounds, yes, that leads you to Wikipedia. But I popped that on him, so it wasn't like, that was today, so
right.
He didn't like go, let me just tell you about it. He didn't start looking at his smartphone. He knows your show really well. He's a guy's guy, and
he's a bro.
He's a straight talker guy. He's a bro. He's a bro. No wonder he says bro.
That expression is weird because it used to be like, first of all, black dudes owned it, right? What up, bro? It was like that, and then it became white guys. Like dorky white guys.
Okay,
like
now, I'm going to give it to you.
Right?
Because you seem interested in everything. Okay. I like the Rogan podcast because it's casual conversation.
I feel like I shouldn't be here for this.
He always sets the guest at ease and weaves through topics seamlessly. I'd leave it alone.
Okay, that's nice.
But he says everything is awesome. I mean, you're so...
Thanks, bro.
You're so... You said it just like how you... I mean, perfect.
What kind of stuff does Derek having you do?
Oh.
Physically,
well, okay, so I get in there and I do an elliptical, for me, I do it as hard as you could possibly do it for 20 minutes. So it gets everything kind of going, and I've torn my rotary cuff, so it lubes that up a little bit, and I have some injuries.
Have you ever done anything about it, the rotator cuff?
My doctor, you know him, Neil Elatrage.
Okay.
He does the teams and stuff like that.
What did he say?
I don't need surgery. Eventually, I might have to have surgery. He says, I'm a surgeon. That's what I do, but I don't want you to have surgery. You don't need it. You have the same strength you would have, and it just will hurt a little bit. And
this is a rotator cuff tear.
It's a rotator cuff tear.
Have you ever had stem cells?
No. Is that a good idea?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me how you
Definitely.
do. Okay. Oh, wow. I'm getting this from the man right on public.
I'll talk to you after it's over, and I'll give you places that you should go and talk to. I had a full-length rotator cuff tear, and it's gone from stem cells.
Is there anything
No. Nothing negative. No.
Nothing negative.
Not for me. And I know of no negative repercussions.
That's fantastic. I love knowing that.
Yeah. Certainly can help you, for sure.
All right.
Matter of fact, the place where I go is... the place I go is in Santa Monica, and I've been going there for years.
What's the name of the place?
Lifespan Medicine.
Oh, it's not Mark Forrester. No. Lifespan. Okay, I don't know.
I'll explain to you everything after
I would
the show.
love that. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah. But there's a lot of different treatments that they can do now that for soft tissue tears, things like rotator cuffs and muscle tears and things along those lines. It's amazing what they can do now.
Wow. Okay, that'd be awesome. So what does he have me do? I do variety of different types of weights, curls. He mixes it up so it's sort of cross training. So I'll do different things.
Cool.
I'll use those little slides that I love.
Oh, yeah,
you put on your
great.
feet, and there's 4 different things you can do. You open them and you do the push-ups. And I like it because it's hard.
Do you like to do it in the morning?
I do it all in the morning. I do it at it start at 6:30.
Wow.
He shows up at 7. This is what my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday goes like this for me. From 6:30 to 7, I do my own stuff. Just elliptical. Just get going. And a few other things. I might even do those little slides. He shows up at 7. Hey, bro. He's hey, bro, and me. And then we work out till 10 to 8. At 5 to 8. And then for 5 minutes, he puts that bolt on my legs and calves, to like lube, make my muscles more relaxed.
Bolt. You're talking about like a neuromuscular stimulator?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks. All right.
Electrical muscular stimulator. Yeah.
Electrical muscular stimulator. And so we do that, and then I run next door and I play tennis for an hour, usually one-on-one tennis with a pro named Buster. Shout out to Buster.
Yeah. So after that, a half-hour elliptical, and then you do the weights.
Yeah.
You do this different kinds of physical workouts, then you play tennis for an hour. So, wow. So you're done, like, what, 10 a.m.?
No, I'm done exactly at 9 a.m. Sometimes I have to leave a few minutes early, but like 5 to 9 or
so
3
you run
minutes to
right
9.
from the gym straight over to tennis, so no missing time at all.
Right next door. No missing time.
Right next door.
Yeah, right next door. It's Skip Rittenham's house.
Okay, bam.
Bam for him.
Yeah.
And so then I play tennis, and then I rush back, and I take a shower really fast, and then I'm on the road going.
And then you do your work.
Then I go to work.
Wow.
But I'm up early, actually, at 5 o'clock.
Really?
And I'm doing work, and I'm looking at videos, and I'm reading things, and just
5 a.m., huh? Every morning, that's your thing?
Every morning, I just wake up at that time.
Coffee,
lots of coffees, but I get excited about the day.
That's great.
I get really excited about the day.
That means you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Oh, good.
You enjoy what you're doing.
I really
you're
enjoy
excited about it.
I'm really excited about it. I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I enjoy my life.
I love hearing that from people that are successful.
Oh, good.
Because it means you've found the thing that's fulfilling.
Yes.
And it's continually fulfilling.
Yes.
Which is the real problem with a lot of folks. Sometimes things are fulfilling initially, but then they lose their luster.
Yeah.
But for you, as many movies as you made, as long as you've been in the game, that you're still getting up at 5 in the morning, pumped up,
super
excited
psyched
for the day. That's
Not
awesome.
feeling like I have to. I just want to.
That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah. No, I mean, it's really true. I'm really excited. And my life's good. My kids are great. They've gone through some changes. All kids do, and they're really in the right spot. My youngest kid just turned 16. He plays football at Notre Dame. He's not a big kid, but he wanted to own it. He wanted to own a choice, and he's really disciplined. Really, really, and he's just so not a pussy. He's like, you know what I mean? He's just a tough guy.
That's awesome.
And I'm really proud of him and happy. And, I go through the rest of the 3 as well. 4, total.
What
4.
other kind of things do you like to do with your day? I mean, you're obviously a guy that's into self-improvement.
Yeah.
So what other kind of things do you do? Meditate at all?
I do meditate. I do TM. I do it once a day, but I know you're supposed to do it twice a day.
Are you supposed to do it twice a day?
You're supposed to do it twice a day, but
morning and night? Is that how you're supposed to do it?
Something like that, yeah. But I can't pull that off. So I don't demand that upon myself. I don't demand upon myself things that I can't quite do. I know I should, and I'm trying to. My
friend Tom Papa does TM, and he won't tell me what his mantra is. Will you tell me what your mantra is?
No.
Damn. It's crazy.
I had 2 of them because actually Deepak Chopra 20 years gave me one. 15 years. I have to be honest. 15 years. because I was really in need of meditation to stop these cycles.
He gave you a mantra.
He gave me came to my office, taught me how to meditate, and gave me a mantra. And then I dropped it, and then recently, about 5 years ago, Veronica, who's my wife, who's a big shout out to my wife.
Shout out to Veronica.
Thank you very much.
Third shout out today.
Yeah, that's good. And so she and I took up TM from Bob Roth. Bob Roth is the founder of the David Lynch Meditation Center. And he's a very good guy. You'll tell me.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
And so we do that. And sometimes we get Bob Roth on the phone because he lives in New York, and we'll just do it in the backyard, and we'll have him on speaker, and he'll talk through the framework of it, and then he's quiet and we're quiet and we meditate.
Oh, nice.
You meditate?
Yes. I just find it amazing how many TM people won't tell you their whatever they're chanting.
Well, I think we're told not to.
Yeah, but that's why it's weird. It's like, how
does somebody have that much power over you, right?
Is it abracadabra? Is it alakazam? What are you saying? The style of meditation I do, I just concentrate on my breath. I think only about breathing in.
Oh, yes.
Only about breathing in and only about breathing out. That's all I think about. So when I'm concentrating, I'm thinking only about the breath in and only about the breath out. And it goes off the rails. I think about other things and I have to get back on track. It always does. There's no way around that.
I think we're told it's okay though, right?
Yeah. It's okay.
I cut you, yeah.
I used to think that it wasn't. I used to think, God, I'm weak.
Me too.
I can't stay on track. But now I realize that's not the point. The point is it's just part of being a person. Just let it happen. But keep on track. Keep on track. And you get off track, just get back on track again. Don't freak out about it.
Don't beat
get
yourself
weird.
up and all that stuff.
But I find it very cleansing.
Me too.
It does something. Just something. When it opens you up in a very nice way.
Is yours who's the person that turned you on to it, or is it a type of meditation that has a name to it, or
no, not really. It's just stuff I read about, and I started doing it in an isolation tank. I started doing it. I have one here.
Really?
Yeah.
So when I leave, we can look at the
isolation?
Okay.
Yeah. Sensory deprivation tank. Okay. Shout out to the Float Lab. Fourth shout out. You ever been to one? You ever used one?
No.
Oh, they're amazing. You should get one. It's a great way to meditate.
There's portable ones too, aren't they? They're big.
Sort of, yeah.
I have done one, and I liked it. But I bet I can't wait to see yours, because I bet there's a better way. I did it so makeshift.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah. The Float Lab's the most advanced ones, and they have a place in Westwood and in Venice. They have a place where you can go and rent it for an hour. But the best thing that I found was inside the tank was to just concentrate on breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, and in through the nose and out through the mouth. And that's all I would concentrate on, is breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. And then I would kind of go into this trance when I was inside the tank. And so then when I didn't have access to the tank, I started utilizing that outside of the tank. And so when if something's bothering me, if I've got something because I'm an obsessive person, so I get a thought in my head about something I'm working on or something I'm trying to fix, and I just start rolling over in my head to the point where I can't get it away. So then the way I can cleanse that and put my brain back on a good cycle is to just concentrate on breathing. So I use the same method that I would use inside the tank, and I use it outside the tank. But I want to try TM.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do it this month while we're doing these different classes this month. I'm gonna try to take a class.
Maybe go to this guy, Bob Roth.
Sure. Where's he at?
Well, he's kind of all over in New York.
Okay,
but he comes out here because he has many people in Los Angeles, and he makes sure to come, I think, once a month or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'll talk to you. We'll figure it out.
I think he's, for me, I think the best. I've met a few of them, but he made, without saying take it seriously, he describes it in a way that I understood what it was, and he has some authority in him that made me take it seriously, whereas the other times I didn't take it quite as seriously. It's kind of important who introduces it to you, I think.
I think so too, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like what you were talking about earlier about people that are really enthusiastic about something and really committed and disciplined about it, that it's very contagious.
It is.
I think the same thing about meditation or about anything.
Yeah.
There's a certain energy you get when you're talking to someone who's really into what they're into.
Yeah, really into it.
If they're really into TM, like you'll get a feeling and then you'll be able to recreate at least some of that.
Yes.
When you do it on your own, I'd imagine.
Yes, yeah. And, yeah. Well, you'll like how it's described. It's, I don't know if you've, basically, no, I'll let you do it yourself. Yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
Now, what other stuff do you do in terms of self-improvement?
You should ask Veronica. No, I think a little like you, as I've researched you, that I'm constantly reading things, like all of the time. Always nonfiction, however.
No fiction at all?
No, I just, no.
That's interesting for someone who produces a lot of fiction.
Well, what I like is yes, that's right. What I've found in my life, for me, the foundational creative ingredients ingredients to a creative equation, like making a movie or a TV show or painting, is counterpoint. So I have found that I'm dreamy enough myself, and I've read, of course, all Joseph Campbell stuff, so I kind of understand formats of myths and The Hero with a Thousand Faces, and I particularly like underdog stories. And there's so many types of underdog stories that it's so anyway, so I have that basic knowledge. And then when I learn a subject, let's say I learn the subject of architecture or physics or a little bit of chemistry or whatever it's all like from an archaeological perspective because it's all new to me. So I found, for example, when I produced the movie 8 Mile, which is about hip hop, right? It's about battles in Detroit. At first I thought, I could even go back further. I'll do this quickly though. I thought, I should get like the hottest, video director, the coolest guy, and I won't say those names, but there were the guys that were very visible at being the best at those hot videos. And then it occurred to me, I should get somebody that approaches it again archaeologically, where everything is a discovery. So I hired someone that knew nothing about hip-hop but was passionate about wanting to do the movie. And he was named Curtis Hanson. He's deceased right now, but he won, believe 2 Oscars for L.A. Confidential. So he was kind of a classic American filmmaker that looked at everything with sort of a discovery lens. And that's why you're able to see, if I pick the video guy that thinks he knows everything about hip-hop, then all the little nuances that are new to the audience's eyes would have never been shot because he'd think, oh, everybody knows that stuff. That's the good stuff,
Yeah.
And so sometimes authority on top of authority doesn't work out well. And I found that my career, all I did was write and produce comedies for the first 17 years of my movie career. Starting with Night Shift and then Splash and Parenthood and Nutty Professor and Liar Liar and I could, a lot of comedies, a lot of 5 Eddie Murphy thing, Jim Carrey 3 times, and what I found was Jewish writers, Christian actors. In the Jewish words, they go Jew writers, Goyim actor. And Goyim is like when Jewish people say it's the Christian, the Catholic guy. It's always, I made 8 movies, I think, with Tom Hanks, but he's like the Gary Cooper, or he's the Christian guy with the Jewish writers. Always.
Why that
works.
Why?
Jew on Jew, no good. Christian on Christian, not funny.
Really?
Yeah, it just doesn't play.
What's wrong with Jew on Jew?
There's only one Jew on Jew kind of worked in the last Woody Allen. And they weren't meteoric hits. He was just like, he was sort of dominated the ethos, of, what I mean? He of comedy in the 70s and 80s. But it just didn't work. You can't really I could name, Judd Apatow, talented Jewish writer, director, usually he's got these guys that are like they're just not that. They're Catholic Christian guys, or girls.
Right.
I mean, who's the chicken train wreck? Melissa McCarthy. McCarthy, she's Catholic.
Right.
He's a Jew. It's like that's the counterpoint is what works.
Isn't Trainwreck Amy Schumer? Is it Melissa McCarthy too?
Oh, you might be right. Oh, it might be both.
Yeah.
It's both. Oh, thank God. Thank God we got tiebreaker here. So anyway.
Do you prefer to do comedy or do you prefer just a movie that interests you? Like,
I
is it
prefer
action?
movies just interesting.
Just whatever it is.
But there was a point, like at the end of these 17 years of there's a point where I definitely made a lot of, did well financially. I'm making these movies and I enjoy it because when you're around comedy, you're happy. You're laughing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole vibe of the thing.
Right.
But I thought you cannot get enough respect just doing comedy. So I thought I'm going to have to try to just do dramas because I've come close. I got nominated, but that's as close as I got. There was no way on Splash they were going to pick. And the writers are the funny guys over there. They picked Robert Benton, like the guy that wrote A Place in the Heart, or Places in the Heart. And Bonnie and Clyde. Like they picked that guy, the classy guys. So I felt like if I want to join the classy guys, I better start doing dramas. And then I did Apollo 13 and Ransom and a bunch of dramas.
That's interesting. So that's what motivated you to switch it up.
Yeah, that was what motivated me. I just couldn't take the abuse any longer. I just couldn't.
The abuse of producing massively successful movies. What abuse.
Yeah, I mean, I felt grateful and stuff, but I just felt like I
understand. You didn't feel like you got the respect you deserve.
Yeah, I just feel like they're so comedies are so hard. You do comedy. Comedy is the hardest thing because when it doesn't work, you hear it. It's embarrassing. It's bad.
Yeah.
Dramas, the great dramas, I could tell you all those dramas that we see in the last 5 years. They go, oh, it's great, it's brilliant. I mean, I don't even know what happened on some of these things. They're so slow, right? Or there's no defining, no one's class. You're just, oh God, you hear everybody was really quiet. They're quiet because they're asleep.
What did you think of the Joker?
Okay. I have to break the Joker down because I know a lot of people that are moralistically very against it.
Yes.
My generation is really mad at it. I thought as a movie, that movie was really badass. I thought it was really good.
Masterpiece.
Oh my God, those sequences and the going down the stairs and the music choices. That was a masterpiece. It was amazing. I loved it. Now, this other unit that if the movie's broken down into two units, the one is the masterpiece we're calling of the movie itself, and then what are the themes that are giving life to this movie, or the purpose, or what's the purpose? I mean, you could go, well, that could be, there could be some bad stuff in there, but I'm not deep enough to know. I could identify it exactly, and having made so many movies, I can't be judgmental of it. I liked it, and so I just feel like people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. That's what I think.
That's a good way of looking at it.
How do you see it? Because you asked. Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant, but very disturbing. Yeah. But it was supposed to be disturbing. And I think they accomplished their goal, with flying colors. I think it was a very, very unusual movie. Very difficult to find any parallels with any other previous movie.
Exactly.
I thought it was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
When I left, I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like that. It was like, wow.
I'm going to party.
A great movie.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. I walked out of the theater like, fuck.
Yeah, it just blows you away.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And me and my wife talked about it for a long time.
How was she on it?
She loved it.
Oh, cool.
But it's not her kind of movie.
Yeah.
But there was something about it. It was so well executed, and Joaquin Phoenix was amazing.
Yeah. It was kind of operatic in some scene. I mean, where the music and everything was. Yeah.
I mean, the build up to it too. There was so much going on and so much madness, and so and you understood. You felt empathy for this guy who was ultimately a monster and a murderer.
Yes.
But spoiler alert. But you felt for him.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in that sense, they managed to navigate those incredibly treacherous waters brilliantly.
Yeah.
I thought it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, good. Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, that director's great.
Yeah. No, he's great. Todd Phillips is
I'm
amazing.
sure you know him.
I don't. I have friends
really?
who know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend Brian Callen, he was in The Hangover, and he was in this movie briefly too. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know him.
Yeah. So that's that.
That's that.
Yeah.
Brian, I got to wrap this up. But
okay.
I really enjoyed it, man. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, you're so welcome.
I really appreciate it. I really enjoy talking to you.
Thanks. I feel really grateful to be on your show.
I feel really grateful to be able to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
All
much.
Right, thanks. Great.
Bye, everybody.
Wow. How long do we talk for? 2 hours. Wow. Thank you.